welcome everyone this morning. As Ted mentioned, my name is Daniel Blunt. I am with the Oasis Institute. So we offer educational programs to older adults. This ranges from anything with exercise, history, arts and entertainment, and also technology. So I've been with Oasis since late August. And I am involved in a little bit of everything. I'm the education program coordinator there, so I do a lot with our lifelong learning. But I also help with some of our tech programs. And so that is why I am here today to discuss online safety, the basics. How to identify, fight, and report online scams and stay safe every day. Okay, so before I begin, two quick things. One, I will present a lot of information that might be scary, but I want you to know there are bad actors out there, but not everyone is out to try and get you. And then secondly, the most important thing, I won't make you wait for it to know. When you do feel overwhelmed by something or there's any concern you have, just take a breath and then reach out to someone you trust. A lot of these scams will try and prey on you with this element of time where you have to act quickly, you have to act swiftly, and there might be some emotional appeal to it. In those situations, take a breath and then reach out to someone you trust. And they can be able to help you as well. So in this class, today we'll discuss who is more vulnerable to scams, how to fight back against scam tactics, and then tips to stay safe online every day and how to report online fraud and scams. So first we're going to talk about three complicating factors specifically for older adults. Number one, older adults have more wealth. So people 50 and up hold 83% of the wealth in America. This includes retirement accounts, pensions, paid off mortgages, and this all comes from AARP. And then according to a report by AARP, older adults hold the vast majority of the wealth in the United States, as you see with the 83%. A second complicating factor, there are special scams just for older adults. So this includes Social Security, grandparent scams, funeral and cemetery scams, Medicare health insurance scams, reverse mortgage, and then fraudulent anti-aging products. So I don't know if anyone's ever gotten reached out to about if a specific cream or something that'll help you look younger and fresher or something like that. That was an example of one of these special scams that are targeted just at older adults. A third complicating factor are age-associated financial vulnerability. So this includes dementia and Alzheimer's, functional changes that can impact financial decision-making in cognitively intact older adults, and social isolation as well is a huge factor. And all of this, of course, has been amplified by the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's look at some statistics, shall we? So in 2024, there's this internet crime report by the FBI, and it details the victims by age group of some of these scams. As you can see in these two groups below, in the 50-plus group, we are seeing both the highest total loss as well as the highest change from 2023. So in the 50 to 59 age group, there's $2.5 billion in total loss by scams, over 60, $4.8 billion. And then as you can see, that change has gone up 0.8 billion in the 50 to 59 age group, and then 1.4 billion in the over 60. And in total, they're both affecting over 80,000 and 147,000 individuals.
That's 11 billion?
This is, which statistic?
If I add up the column, it comes around 11 billion?
In the
Total loss.
In the total loss, so in the 50 and up group, it's looking at roughly 7 billion. Oh, the total, all there.
Total, yeah.
Then it would probably come up to be around 11 billion. That seems right based off of an initial eye test. But yeah, most of that.
Just in 1 year?
That's in the 2024.
They beat us for 11 billion in one. Oh, goodness.
It's a very, it's very, like I said. Yeah. And looking at this in a little more detail, we can see that most of this loss has come in investment scams. But you can see some other examples. We have tech support at 1.46 billion in 2024. You have personal data breach, 1.45 billion. Business email compromise, 2.77 billion. Identity theft as well on the bottom is right under credit card and check fraud. I think that's also an important one to look at. But really all of these here, you can just see how impactful these have been and how much money they've taken. So looking at some more research here by AT&T, 95% of older Americans aged 60 and above have experienced a scam online. So almost everyone has experienced it. And that's something important to remember too. If you've fallen victim to a scam or you know someone who's fallen victim to a scam, they're in the majority. So there is no shame in that. 92% of older Americans have experienced some sort of phishing attempt. And when we say phishing, to get the exact definition, phishing is a type of cyber attack where attackers masquerade as trusted sources to steal sensitive information. For example, someone pretends to represent your bank and wants you to verify your password or your PIN number. Additionally, 71% of older Americans have encountered a malicious actor claiming to be someone else. Personally, myself, I've received calls when people pretend to be someone they're not. Mostly for me, it has been from someone claiming to be from the bank I use. But I would be one of the 71% here.
Have they identified where these organizations work from?
Not that
AT&T?
Not that I know of in this report specifically. The question for those online or viewing later was, have they identified the organizations that are from where most of these scams are happening? And I don't know the answer for sure. I'm sure it's a mix of people who are acting alone and in general just different crime rings or groups. So we're going to look at a few testimonies here, some real stories. So this one is Phyllis's story. So Phyllis is a 90-year-old widow. She received a convincing call from someone claiming to be from her bank's fraud department. Over several hours, the scammer gained her trust and convinced her to withdraw $20,000 from her savings to, quote, protect it from hackers, unquote. She sent the money via wire transfer. The funds were gone within minutes, representing years of careful savings. Now, just based off of what you all see here, what do you think are some quick tells that this might have been a scam?
I don't know if it's a bank representative.
Yes, that's good. Yep. We don't know if it really is a bank representative. There's someone that's just claiming to be from their bank. Any other initial observations?
Talking for hours, that would be.
Yes, that's one I wanted to highlight as well, is that she was on the phone with them for hours. You know, if you're going to get a call, I personally don't like any phone calls over 30 minutes just in general, but talking to someone who I don't know their identity, we're talking about personal information, and just for over the span of multiple hours, that is a sign in my head that something might be up. And what did you say in the back, ma'am? Sorry?
Just that they wanted cash and they wanted a wire transfer.
Yes, that's another one, the wire transfer. It's always, when they ask for money in different ways, we're going to talk about that later on, that is another tell in that this could be a scam. So according to FTC reports, some older adults have emptied entire bank accounts, withdrawn their 401k retirement funds, or taken out home equity loans based on fake security alerts. One victim was convinced to visit multiple Bitcoin ATMs over several days, converting her life savings into cryptocurrency that vanished immediately. So this kind of goes back to what we just said with the forms of wire transfer, or if they're asking for very specific methods of payments, that should kind of raise some eyebrows, especially if you hear the wire transfer or Bitcoin. Yes?
So my AT&T phone, it tells me, it assumes that the incoming call is a scam. It just puts it right in there. Don't take the call. And the other thing I do is, I don't answer my phone anymore because of this. I make them produce a voicemail. And in that voicemail, they tell me who they are, or their phone number, or what the call is about. Typically, it's a friend of mine, but I don't.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? You pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for those watching later or listening in, the gentleman in the audience was talking about how he does not take these phone calls if he doesn't recognize it or if it pops up saying scam,
Right.
which is a nice feature. That's also one way that, or one method that I use personally. I'm also in the majority, or I'm in the boat of people who will say, I don't recognize that number. I want to hear voicemail. I want to hear a voice that isn't like a robot or a recording.
Yes.
And so that's how I'm going to know, or that's how I'm going to feel the safest. Or if they really want to get to me, maybe they'll call me back at a different point.
And that's the problem with AI right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're talking about robot calls.
Yep. And we'll talk a little bit about how AI is used in scams here coming up too. But yeah, AI has definitely transformed the landscape of these scam calls for sure. Okay, the cost of falling for scams, looking a little bit more into the data. So individual losses over $100,000 increased nearly sevenfold between 2020 and 2024. Like I mentioned earlier, COVID has kind of, it's thrown a wrench into everything and it's made it even worse. Some scammers send professionally dressed couriers to victims' homes to collect valuables. This is another tell if someone says that they can send someone to come pick something up. That should raise some alarm bells too, put you on your feet. Scammers are more convincing, using face-to-face contact, which gives false legitimacy. And then the resulting emotional trauma causes shame, depression, and loss of independence. Like I said earlier, even in the statistics, almost everyone has gotten a scam call or they've been reached out in an attempt to be scammed. And a lot of people have also been scammed. So it may cause these feelings of shame, depression, and a loss of independence. But I assure you, if you have been scammed, you are not alone. A lot of people have also gone through the same thing. And that's why presentations like these and information like this is very important to spread. So how do phone and text scams work? So modern scammers use advanced technology to appear legitimate. Caller ID spoofing lets them display trusted names. So like we said, the bank, local police, family members. These are just a few ways that they might appear on your phone and then try and get your personal information or try and get you to pick up and then talk to you. And what you see is not always real, especially as you said in this world where AI is so prominent, what you see is not necessarily what is actually true. So they weave elaborate stories with technical jargon. This is another thing too, where if they're using terminology that is a little like, it sounds too advanced for really what it is, or if it's something you don't understand, don't be afraid to ask questions or just hang up. Don't engage with that. Take that deep breath, as I mentioned, hang up, call someone else. You know, if they are legitimate, you can call them back. Yeah. So they insist you stay on the phone. As we saw with Phyllis's story, she talked to someone for over 2 hours. Then they create artificial urgency through threats, deadlines, and claims that waiting will result in serious consequences or missed opportunities. Again, you take that deep breath, and even if they insist on a time element or an emotional appeal, you know, still contact those who are important to you and that you trust to be as safe as possible. So what are some common scam tactics? I guess first, any questions before I continue? No? Good? Okay. Tactic number 1, the fake security alert scam. So pop-up appears that claim that your computer or device is infected with a virus. I'm sure we've all gotten something along the lines of this where we don't really know what it is, but there's something in the corner of your computer or something that pops up in the middle that says that there is a virus. The phone number is prominently displayed with urgent instructions to call immediately. And then when you call, someone claiming to be from Microsoft, Apple, or even your bank answers. So that's another way where you get these pop-up ads that are predatory. You know, it's that sense of urgency, the time, and then they provide the number, and then that's how they get you to call. Yes?
So if you're getting these pop-up ads,
Uh-huh.
does that mean they've already got into your computer, you've got a virus of some sort?
That's a good question. So the question was, if you're already getting these pop-up ads, does that mean you already have a virus of sorts? Um, I would say no, because there are ways that they're finding to get to you, but at that point you have not engaged with it.
Okay, because I'm wondering, you know, I'll be on a trusted website,
Mm-hmm.
and they always have these chat features.
Mm-hmm.
So I know with my HP printer,
Yes.
I couldn't get it connected up. And it's like the chat help button. And, you know, so I get there,
Mhm.
and they're like, oh, we'll have somebody call you. And by the end of that, I thought I was talking to the HP people. No, I had got to, I don't know where that number referred me to, but to a company that's willing to fix my computer and take away all my stuff for a fee.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I thought these pop-up chats, like, you know, when I'm with my financial institute,
Mm-hmm.
are real, but how do I know if it's real or some kind of just virus that's in my computer that says, hey, they're on the bank and they clicked a chat box?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for any chats, or the chat features on websites, because it's on pretty much every single website or business that you visit nowadays, if it's asking to take you to a whole different website entirely, in that moment I would call the original company that or whose site you're on. So in that case, I would call HP and I would verify with them that this is a legit service, because if it isn't, and it would be good to let them know and make them aware of it too.
Is there like a security for chats? You know, like when I'm on my bank, the little lock symbol's up there. Is there any way to check like their web address or?
See, that I don't know off the top of their head. If there is a way to check the web address, that could be something I can look into after and let you know. And my rule of thumb, this is just what I personally do. This isn't a recommendation or anything. I try not to use the chat features. I would rather just call the number that is associated with the company themselves. So that, when in doubt, I would say.
Because I'm beginning to distrust the chat features.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, if it's nothing, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm not trusting these.
Mm-hmm. Personally, I just like to talk to a representative rather than typing with a chat. I think the chat feature is helpful for quick answers, but even when the chat bot feature gives you something, it's not always the answer you're looking for. And so I personally, maybe I'm a little old school, but I would prefer to talk to someone if I can rather than use the features. Uh-huh.
She makes a good point, because I just went through this with my new printer.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't take a call. They'll
Mm-hmm.
only go through chat. And my wife spent 2 hours through them trying to figure out why I couldn't connect. And now I'm beginning to think,
Did they-
I'm scammed.
Did they give you were you able to reach anyone? Did they give you an answer?
No,
Ron?
you can't call anybody.
Mm.
Yeah. Some of them are like that. They just shut down the process. All you can do is use chat.
Mm-hmm.
So what we found out is the code to get in to fix the problem, we had to get through them through chat, and it worked. So I had some satisfaction.
Yeah.
But no calling. They
Wow.
won't take a call.
Yeah.
So I don't know what.
I mean, that's just another reason to take the extra precautions then.
But she makes a good point.
Yeah.
I just,
That's very interesting to hear. And was that also HP or just a printer company?
yeah, it was just a
Printer company?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. Okay. So some critical warning signs. If they request remote access to your computer, that should be alarm bells in your head. Pressure to pay via gift cards, wire transfer, or cryptocurrency. That's just going to be a warning sign really in any scam that we talk about, is if they ask you to pay up in some sort of untraceable method, something that will function like cash. And then claims that your accounts or your computer are compromised. Again, in that scenario, take your deep breath, contact those you trust, or try and reach out to the company. Tactic number 2, government impersonation scams. So here's just 3 examples. So IRS impersonation, scammers claim you owe back taxes and threaten immediate arrest. They demand payment via prepaid cards or wire transfer, creating panic about legal consequences. Again, There's that wire transfer or prepaid cards. Social Security fraud. Callers claim your Social Security number has been suspended or linked to criminal activity. They threaten benefit suspension threaten benefit suspension unless you verify information or pay fines. I've experienced something kind of similar to this. I got a bill at the end of last year from Verizon saying that I had opened an account and I had outstanding fees. I have never stepped foot in a Verizon store, nor do I have any Verizon accounts. And so that really kind of confused me more than anything. And I contacted Verizon. They didn't know about that account as well. And so through that, I learned that, that was a scam attempt. So they do really, especially with something with your Social Security number, that does really kind of like raise those cortisol levels, make you stressed. But again, just finding ways to contact the reputable sources that you know. Yes?
Is it true that the IRS or the Social Security Administration will not initiate contact by phone with you? It's got to be by mail?
Yes, yeah. There will be, I believe there's a slide in here that talks a little bit more about that, where these companies will not make that direct contact with you via phone. That will be something through the mail, yeah. And then law enforcement threats. Fake officers claim there's a warrant for your arrest or you've missed jury duty. I'd like to think we all know whether we would probably have an arrest warrant out for us. But in this scenario, they demand immediate payment to avoid jail time or other serious consequences. In this scenario, like, trust your gut, unless you're going out committing crimes, like, take that time just to think about it a little more, take that breath, and then also, just reach out to those you care about. So in reality, these agencies follow strict protocols. As Ted mentioned earlier, they always initiate contact through official mail first. So you are not going to receive a phone call. It will be through the mail. They never demand immediate payment by phone, and they never ask for payment via gift cards, Bitcoin, or wire transfers. Again, if you get, I don't think I can reiterate this enough, if you get a message where they're asking for you to pay via gift cards, Bitcoin, or wire transfers, that's like the hallmark sign for this is probably a scam.
I've taken up looking up their phone numbers on their official sites.
Yep.
Rather than, if I do get something in the mail or even with stuff like on Instagram, they're trying to sell you. Some of those are scams. I go check it on Amazon to make sure it's an official product.
Yep.
I'm getting real leery with all that stuff. It's like, okay.
And there's nothing wrong with questioning things. If you get something where you feel suspicious about it, it doesn't hurt to question. So in the example you provided with the Instagram shops and things that they're trying to sell you, it doesn't hurt to check phone numbers.
There's a lot of the pet ones out there now, like on Instagram. They have all these poor cats and dogs they're rescuing, and they're asking you to donate to help this pet.
Oh.
And it's real tempting, but I'm kind of like, you know what, if I'm going to donate to help pets, I'm going to pick people in my area that I know for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, they're real, if you don't give us money, this pet won't get fed or won't get the medical treatment. Yeah,
And that's
I'm not ready to go. No more Instagram, it's just too weird.
Yeah, I personally don't use Instagram, so I haven't heard of that scam, but that does not surprise me. With the element of the emotional appeal, insisting that it's almost up to you to feed these animals that need help. That just seems like a...
You would think Instagram would filter those and make sure they're legit business, but they don't. Even places that accept your credit card, you would think the credit card company would know if that was a legit business. They don't. It's like, you're just letting anybody sign up to, use the credit card. So, but it's nice with the credit card. I had one where it was like scammed, I contacted them, said, hey, I never got the product.
Mm-hmm.
And they refunded my money right away.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, thank God I used the credit card.
Yeah, and those companies, if you will reach out to them, like they aren't going to hold that over you, because we're all trying to figure out when and why these scams are happening. And so, yeah, as you said, you did the right thing then to reach out to the company itself, the credit card company. So,
Yeah, I hardly use my debit card anymore, and I tap, because
Yep.
they've got those scanners in there.
Yep. Yeah, if you have a card that has the tap function, that's the best way to go, and as opposed to when you have to insert it or slide your card.
You try to use cash, and people quit taking cash.
Yeah. Yeah, there are
They
entire
want a
cashless
card.
venues. Yeah. Tactic number 3, demanding payment with gift cards. So this is a prevalent form of fraud where criminals trick victims into purchasing gift cards. Scammers favorite these gift cards as they are virtually untraceable and they function much like cash does. And then it makes it nearly impossible for victims to recover the money once it's sent. That's the really difficult part. If you use the gift cards, that is really difficult to actually get back. So any individual or organization demanding payment via gift cards for taxes, bills, emergencies, or anything else is a scammer. Hang up immediately and verify any claims through official channels using the contact information you find independently, so not what the caller provides. That's the key again, reaching out to the actual organization, not the numbers you are provided through this call. Who doesn't love more statistics? So the reported losses to gift card scams in the US each year comes out to be over $200 million. We're seeing a 40% rise in consumer reports about gift card payment scams. And 75% is the percentage of gift card scam victims who are seniors. As you can see, this includes the victims aged 60 and up, so they are often targeted. No real business or government agency will accept gift cards or Bitcoin as payment. I sound like a broken record. You hear that? That's a scam. Gift cards are for gifts and nothing else. Scams like these are emotionally powerful, they have a sense of urgency, and they're asking you to take action to prevent a tragedy. Kind of like what you mentioned with the Instagram ads about donating for the pets in need. That has everything. That has you're emotionally powerful, that has the sense of urgency, and then it's asking you to prevent a tragedy. No one wants to see a pet put down or not have a pet be fed. So that's all 3 of those linked into what you said with the Instagram ad. Tactic number 4, pretending to be a charity. So natural disasters occur on a regular basis, which makes it easy to create fake nonprofits. Scammers frequently target older adults with fraudulent charity appeals, especially after natural disasters or humanitarian crises. They exploit generosity, creating scam organizations to steal donations intended for those in need. So how can you donate safely if you are looking to donate to a charity? Look at the charity's website and social media. Go through those channels in order to find the information that you need, not what you're getting from the scam that's reaching out to you. You can research their ratings on websites such as Charity Navigator, GuideStar, and BBBY's Giving Alliance. You can donate directly, so not through any unsolicited emails or phone calls. You use secure payment by credit card or check. And then this is key as well, keep records of your contributions. I think this is just great to do in general, but if you are donating money, go ahead and keep that record. And another way is you can volunteer for the charity. If you've got some spare time, you get more involved with them. Tactic number 5, the grandparent scam. And this is where we start to get into a little bit more of how AI is used in the AI voice cloning. So this involves an urgent call from a family member. They could be crying, distressed, in trouble. They've got some sort of crisis story. So this is like a medical emergency, an accident, someone's been arrested. They demand secrecy. They beg you not to tell anyone due to the embarrassment or fear. And then they have a payment request and they need money immediately, again, with that time element. And what do they use? They ask for wire transfer, gift cards, cryptocurrency, and they may even offer to send a courier. So I have a friend whose grandparents actually went through a scam like this, or an attempted scam, where at the time my friend's grandpa got a call from someone claiming to be my friend. They said that they were in an accident and they needed money like now in order to pay for bills. My friend at the time was 13. He could not drive. So that was an instant sign where something is up. How is he in an accident when he can't even operate a vehicle? So luckily that was the case, and they didn't know how old my friend was, but it's still an example of what they could do. Yes?
That's my favorite one, because my 90-year-old mother got the call saying the grandson was in jail and whatever, right? And she's like, you need to call his father. I don't care, his father handles this kind of stuff. And you could tell the guy was really frustrated. He's like, I'm not paying for that, you call his father. And my sister is sitting there going, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he wasn't in jail at that point.
They take a chance on the emotional appeal with these.
Yeah, she wasn't having it.
Yeah, and sometimes that's more effective than others, of course, depending on who they're calling.
We keep telling her though, don't answer that phone unless caller ID says this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so automatic for her, the phone's ringing, she picks it up.
Yep.
And it's like, move the phone across the room or something from where she sits.
Well, that's another good point too, and for those listening online as well who may not have heard it, we are kind of programmed to answer the phone, and especially if you have that experience of picking up the landline or just having our cell phones next to us all the time. We feel a buzz. That buzz is annoying. Like, I want that to go away, so I'll pick up the phone, something like that. That's just another reason why you need to be on the alert when you pick up these numbers and that caller ID doesn't match something in your phone, or it's not something you recognize. Or even, as we've learned, something that you think you might recognize, but it's not actually what you think it is. So it's important to go through these steps in order to protect yourself. So a little bit more about AI voice cloning. So scammers can now clone voices using AI technology. And how do they do this? They use a few seconds of audio from social media videos or voicemails, and then the criminals can create convincing fake voices of loved ones. So the voice may sound exactly like a grandchild, which makes the scam incredibly believable. Verification is absolutely critical. I cannot stress that enough, even when the voice sounds authentic. Ask for the family's safe word, or decide in advance, or ask for information that only the person would know. So a long ago pet, or just some sort of memory from their childhood that is probably not going to be on social media. Some funny family story about them, something along those lines. And then always hang up and call a family member directly on a number you know is real. Go to one of your contacts that is in your phone, or a number you know by heart to be your family member. Okay, any questions before I go into some tips? Okay, some tips to stay safe online every day. Okay, number 1, protect your personal information and passwords. Okay, so don't share your social security number or your medical ID numbers, passwords, or other personal information unless absolutely necessary. Keep sensitive information in a safe place. For example, you could have a small book, per se, that you keep in your house at a location where only you and maybe your family or people you trust know about, that has your passwords or has your information. This is what my family does. We keep a notebook that has a list of everything, and so if we did need to go find that information in a crunch, I would know where to look, and I would know roughly around what part of the book there was the information I was looking for. Number 2, carefully screen emails to avoid scams. So scammers will send an email in the name of a person or organization you trust, but it's coming from another email address. This is key. They may have the branding that appears to be from an organization that maybe you use or you've been involved with or you trust, but if you look at that actual email they're sending it from, there might be something up. Another thing that I always look for are spelling mistakes. We're human. We can't help an occasional spelling mistake. But if it's riddled with spelling errors or like the sentences don't sound coherent, that's a sign that you should probably question what sort of email you're receiving. Think before you click on a link. If it's a link from an organization you don't know or you don't trust, don't click on it. There are other ways to verify it. This is just a good practice where if you see a new link, be a little wary of it. Create complex passwords unique to each site. This is helpful, again, if you use the book for your personal information, this can make number 4 very easy to do. I know it's very tempting just to use the same password for every site. If someone did get a hold of your passwords, though, that would leave you a little more vulnerable than on multiple platforms. So my recommendation would be to use that book and to keep your collection of passwords in that book. Use two-factor authentication whenever possible. As you were mentioning, I believe you use something along the lines of two-factor with some of your stuff.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, can they access your phone though, when you get that text with the code to enter? Do they have the ability to access that code before?
My initial reaction is that it would be, if you're using the two-factor authentication and that's set up, then no. I don't think they would be able to access that like password when you get the code sent to you.
Okay.
That I would need to verify, but that's what my gut would say.
I mean, they're probably headed for that, but at the moment, that's kind of my safety. I set up all my financial stuff with
Yep.
it too. You know, and when you were talking about passwords, you know, when I'm on a junk site, my forums or whatever, I just use the same password over and over again. I'm like, I don't care to get into that and type something. But, you know, the passwords for like financial stuff, I am storing on Password Manager, I guess that is, in your computer. Is that relatively safe?
Yeah, I would think that if you're using a program specifically designed to hold your passwords, then that would be a safe method. My personal rule of thumb is, for the most part, I just don't save information to different websites if it is something more sensitive, such as my financial information. That's really just what I do personally. But if you
saving the username but not the password.
that's good as well. Yeah, the password is really that key. And while I'm just thinking about it, the most common password used is password. Do not use password as your password. Please do not do that. And then check your personal accounts regularly. This is important too, especially with your finances, just to go in and make sure that there's no suspicious movements. Or I know that our accounts are set up to kind of alert us when there is something suspicious, but it doesn't help. Check.
That up, but all my accounts are set up for alert me if anything over $100.
Yes. Yep, and that's a good point too. You have to go in and set these up if you're using something with your finances, and you can kind of toggle the amounts that you are notified about. Like you said, over $100 be notified. You can really change that to be any sort of amount, but that's just another way to help you be a little more secure. There we go. Okay. Another thing you can do, we're going to talk a little bit about mail here. Do not send checks in the mail except when absolutely necessary. Use wire transfer, Zelle, Venmo, or have a bank send a check for you. If you are going to send a check, do not drop it in one of the mailboxes. Take it to the mail, or the mail house itself. Yeah, the post office. Thank you. I don't know why that escaped my brain, but yes. Take it to the post office and have them mail it for you, because the little mailboxes, those are prone to people breaking into those and taking whatever mail is left in them. So if you are sending a check, go to the actual post office to send that check. Use a gel pen to write checks, as gel cannot be washed as easily as ink, but professionals can still wash it. Another thing you can do though is you can go to USPS.com and you can sign up for informed delivery. So when you are expecting something in the mail, you get a picture of what it's supposed to look like, and you kind of get an estimate, sort of like a tracking thing of when you should expect that by. And so that way when it shows up, you know, like, has it been tampered with? Like, does it look different from what it was initially when that original picture was taken? It's just another way, and just another service that could help you feel a little more secure if you are sending things by mail. So how can you safeguard your device? Set a strong PIN or use fingerprint, or facial recognition. I know personally I use like a PIN, and then I use my facial recognition a decent amount. You can create a lock screen message that could have like a phone number or an email. You know, if you ever get your phone's lost for whatever reason, that could be another way that could be returned to you. You can write it on paper and take a photo and then use that photo as a wallpaper. You can also keep stuff like this really in your phone case as well, behind your phone, just as another method. But when you are using a PIN, I would recommend using the 6 numbers instead of 4. It just adds a little security to it. So like when you're trying to get into your phone, picking a 6-digit number rather than a 4-digit number. And then there's something else you can do. Set up your device to use Finder apps to locate lost devices. So there's Find My iPhone for iPhones, then Android has Find My Device. Never leave your phone unattended in public places. And then be cautious about who you let use your phone, because settings can be inadvertently changed. Yeah, so a little bit more about creating those pins for your phones. For the most safety, use fingerprint or facial recognition. Your phone will revert to numeric PIN if this fails, so that's always a fail-safe. When you create your pins, like I said, choose the longer one, 6 rather than 4 characters. And then you can also choose alphanumeric PIN, letters and numbers, which is also just another extra layer of security. In crowded situations, try and hide the input of your PIN, because who knows, someone could be looking over your shoulder, and you wouldn't want that information getting in their hands. Some special precautions for iPhones. There's this thing that you can turn on in your settings called Stolen Device Protection. So what you would do is you would go to your settings, and then under your Face ID and passcode, or your Touch ID and passcode, you would then see something called Stolen Device Protection. You can tap Turn On Protection, and then your phone will now require a Face ID or a Touch ID when away from trusted places like your home. So this prevents thieves from changing your Apple ID, your phone passcode, or it prevents them from wiping your phone without a face or a fingerprint. If something happens to your phone, like for some reason it's damaged, you can go to that familiar place again to access the features. So if you set that to like your home as your familiar place, if something happens, then you just go back to your home and you'll be able to access your phone a little easier than you would be out and about. So that is just another added layer of protection. And there is something similar to this on Android. It's just done a little differently. But I would also recommend this if you are worried about someone potentially getting into your phone. Be careful what you share online. Avoid oversharing personal data. You know, criminals monitor public profiles and they can learn about your family, your hobbies, or routines. Like we said with the AI cloning, you know, they use the information on social media in order to build an image or representation of someone you know that really isn't you. And then that can be used against you. And then this information allows them, again, to create believable phishing messages, grandchild scams, or target you for identity theft. Keep your profile private. This way you limit who can see your posts and photos. You can control who follows you, and just a way to keep your circle a little smaller and keep yourself more protected. Don't participate in social media surveys. And then not all social media contacts are genuine. Okay. So if you are a part of a scam or some part of a fraud, what can you do? Where do you report these? So for common scams and fraud, you would call the number on the left here, 1-877-FTC-HELP. Or you can go to the website www.ftc.gov/complaint. If you are involved in identity theft or a data breach, you could file a complaint at www.identitytheft.gov. And if you're a part of an internet-based fraud and scam, you can file a complaint at www.ic3.gov. So when I experienced my scare of an identity theft breach, when I thought that they had my social security number, what I did is I immediately froze my credit, and then I contacted the organization involved, and then I contacted the local police as well so that they would be made aware. So there are different ways that you can go about this, but these three websites are great ways to report scams and frauds.
Do they do anything though? I mean, you report it, but does anybody do anything about it, or do they offer you help, like what to do if your identity is stolen?
So in the case, I can speak on like what I experienced. I had a police report filed for me, and so I then turned that into Verizon, who tried to, or that was the company that was involved in the scam. And then they can then have that on file to close out any accounts if need be. That's just a way for them to close the loop. But I was on the phone with Verizon, and they were very helpful in helping me take the next steps that were required. So they will provide help, and then these links to have a little bit more information and kind of walk you through the next steps that you would need to take. Another thing another service you can use are through AARP, their Fraud Watch Network helpline, which is 877-908-3360. So this is a toll-free service that's available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. And this is available to both members and non-members of AARP. Another line you could call, the National Elder Fraud Hotline, 1-833-FRAUD-11, and that's 1-833-372-8311. It's a toll-free service that's available Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern, and they will help callers complete the IC3 or FTC forms and then guide them to other appropriate resources as needed. So if you do need that extra assistance in figuring out what you do next, then you could go through this hotline here, and they can help you through the process. And this is a little bit about what an IC3 Internet Fraud Report would look like. So you provide your the name, if you're reporting on behalf of a business, and just some basic information as such. This gives you a little bit more of an inside look at what you would be doing. Okay, so now just to get into some final key takeaways, just simply put, hang up. You don't recognize that number, you don't feel comfortable talking to that person, hang up. Never send money on demand. It's going to be tempting because they use that emotional appeal and that appeal to some sort of urgency, but never send money on demand. Don't allow remote control of your computer unless you call tech help first. There are some companies such as Apple, if you're on the phone with Apple themselves, if you have a problem with one of your devices, they can send you an email or a request to access your device. So there are companies that can do that, but it was after you had originally contacted them and that's who you're speaking with. If there is a company that is, or if there's just someone that's requesting remote control of your device, don't allow that. Update your computer's operating system regularly. Another thing that we talked about a lot today, verify independently. Go through different sources to verify that the organization or person you're speaking to is actually the one they claim they are. And this can be done through your own independent research, not by following any links or things that they provided you. And then take your time, don't panic. Trust your instincts. If it seems suspicious, it probably is. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If it sounds too bad to be true, it probably is. Key takeaways as well. Use call blocking and filtering if available. And then use two-factor authentication as well. I really like this idea of creating a family safe word, or just having that idea of a story or something where you can ask if you are contacted as part of a grandparent scam, or if they're claiming to be someone you know. Think of just something off the top of your head where that would only be something that you and that person know, or something within your family. Build a trust network of friends and family you can contact. This is always important just for anything, but especially when you're trying to stay safe online. Have that network of people you trust and know how to reach them, and know their numbers or have their contacts in your phone, so that way you can, if you are experiencing one of these, you can contact them quickly. Stay informed about current scams. Like I said, with AI, things are just continuing to evolve, which is scary, but at the same time, staying informed will make this easier on all of us to detect when we are experiencing a scam, and how we can decipher real from fake, and then what to do next. Talk openly to others about scams you've encountered or heard about. This is just useful to keep everyone in the loop as well. If you have something, kind of like what we've done today, we've shared stories, we've talked about our own experiences. That's important because I've learned some new things today, and I hope you all have as well. And seek help. Don't let fear or embarrassment prevent this. Again, do not feel guilty if you are part of a scam, because a lot of people are. This isn't something on you. You are not the victim here. Like, everyone has been contacted about a scam before, so you are not unique in having this happen. If you ever feel uncomfortable, check with somebody first. And before I get to this question slide, just a quick little mention about Oasis again. So like I said, I'm part of the Oasis Institute. We have two different wings in which we do programs. So one is Oasis Everywhere, which is our virtual lifelong learning platform. So we are headquartered here in St. Louis, up at our Northwest Plaza location. But we also have different centers across the country, places like San Diego, San Antonio, Albuquerque. We have two up in New York, in Syracuse and Rochester. And I know another one is escaping me at this moment. But we have centers from across the country in which we hold virtual programming that you can tune into. We put our classes in St. Louis up there as well that have a virtual component. Or you can come see us in person. We have programs here in St. Louis that, with tech programs, they're all virtual, but like the lifelong learning programs that I help coordinate, we have in-person ones, we have virtual ones, we have ones that are both. We have recorded programs. We really have a lot to offer, so feel free to check us out on either of these websites right here. But yeah, are there any other questions? Yes.
Windows updated to Windows 11.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't update to that, does that affect any of my online security?
That's a good question. So the question for those online is Windows recently updated to Windows 11. If I do not personally update it to that, will that affect anything with our security? The thing that came to mind immediately is that eventually Windows will want you to update at some point. It'll send you a message saying update by like this date, I believe. And so, yeah, it won't support otherwise. And so that would be my major thing. Where I would think about that more than the security aspect. In terms of does it affect your security, I don't know that off the top of my head, but I would recommend updating.
Because I'm thinking, I don't use Word or
Mm-hmm.
Excel or any of that stuff now. The only thing I'm doing with that computer is going online.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, my computer will not update to Windows 11. It's like, no, lady, you need a new computer. And I'm like, I don't want to buy a new computer because
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm buying.
Yep.
You know, if the Best Buy guys go out of business, I'm in trouble.
No, I feel that. Yes.
What are your thoughts on antivirus software and things along those lines to help with these type of issues?
Yeah, so the question was, what are my thoughts on using antivirus software to help with these issues? I am pro antivirus software. I think that there's a lot out there in order to choose from. So it's really just finding what offers you the most protection, or what is the best package for what you are doing. But yeah, I'm very pro. I've used, oh my gosh, it's escaping me. I've used the same one for the past few years.
Like Norton or McAfee?
Oh yes, McAfee. Yep.
McAfee.
Yep.
That's the recommendation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But there's all sorts of antivirus. Yeah, all sorts of antivirus protection options as well. So I've used those in the past. Yeah.
That's a good question.
The other thing I was going to mention too is that I've got a almost 95-year-old mother, but my brother is the one who kind of oversees the finances and things. So I think there's limits on what she can do.
Yes.
So that we avoid that. So what are your thoughts about maybe having a buddy or a family member or someone that you trust that can kind of help navigate some of these things?
I love the idea of having a family member help. I mean, currently my grandparents are approaching 90. They're, I think, both 89 at this point, and they are no longer able to take care of themselves. So my dad and his brother have been doing a lot to kind of take on that, like, financial responsibility, but also just their responsibility for their regular days, like just living their lives. And so I think it's very important to have that one trusted person, or just a small network of people too that you can rely on to help with these, because we're not going to know the answers. I don't even know the answers to everything that's out there. And so it's important to have those people that you can help rely on, to whether that's they can help you look into something, or maybe they're a little bit more knowledgeable about something, because we all have our experiences that we can pull from, and they're different and they're shared. And so having someone in your corner and on your team is always helpful, I think, in helping to prevent these scams, and then just being as safe as possible. Yes.
I know the St. Charles County Library has tech support. It's usually at the Catherine Lindeman one here on K, but you can get all kinds of tech information out of them. They'll teach you to work your devices, and it's all free, so you know, you can always run into the library and get help.
Yeah, libraries are a great resource. Of course, because I am from Oasis, I'll plug our Ask a Techie sessions that happen on Mondays up at the old Northwest Plaza location. Those are available for free. They're pretty much every Monday. That's not a holiday throughout our calendar. And then in Clayton, we do have one as well that is on Tuesday afternoons. That one's $10, but where we offer just, you can bring in whatever device you have, or maybe you have a question about something specific, and then we have tech volunteers on staff who will help you through whatever your questions are. But yeah, libraries as well, great resources, and they will be able to connect you as well.
You know, St. Charles, we don't cross the river.
And vice versa, except for Fred over there. So any questions or concerns about automatic bill paying, setting things up to pay the balances of our credit cards, or paying our utility bills automatically?
Yeah, I think that with automatic bills, I do it for some things, and then other things I don't. Again, just what I personally do, I kind of like needing to give myself that extra responsibility so I do remember it. Just that helps me keep track of my finances better. So from that standpoint, if you are looking, or it really could go either way. If you are very comfortable in your finances and you want to set that up, I think it's very helpful. But if you also are kind of managing on like a budget, or you're balancing things a little bit more, then giving yourself that responsibility still to pay those, I think, is also important. So I could see it both ways. I have no qualms personally with either. Yes?
I'd like to make the bank responsible. That's why I have them do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just another safety shield for me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pronto. And then they, well, it's an electronic transfer. They don't
Yes.
really
Right.
send out a check.
And they're probably happy with it as well.
Mhm.
They know that it's going to get there on time and there's less processing on
Yeah,
their
both
part.
sides.
Yeah, it's that guarantee as well. That always helps.
I never do that with my credit cards though, because if you do that, you're not reviewing those statements and somebody can slip.
Oh, you're supposed to review them?
Well,
What else do I have to do?
That's
I'm
a good point.
retired,
Yeah.
That is a
right?
good point.
well,
But-
that goes back to also just keeping a close eye on your accounts too, and tracking like those, as you said, the statements that come through, the purchases that come through, setting up those safeguards with notifications of if something's more than a certain amount. Just those other ways you can protect yourself.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
just automatic payment, it's taken care of.
Some of these credit card companies and my bank, they're extra cautious. If something goes across their radar that they find unusual, they will not pay it or they will contact me and say, is this you?
Yeah.
Did you do this?
Yeah.
So
Like that, yeah.
sometimes it's a little much. My bank's a little too secure. Really. I mean, it gets to the point where I've said, come on, enough already.
Yeah.
But I think it's helpful for a lot of people. Okay, any other questions of Daniel? Okay, thank you very much.